What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sector for Nerds. Today, I'm here to continue reacting to the Star Wars Rebels trailers. Last time went through seasons 1 and 2. This time we're going through seasons 3 and 4. And joining me once again is Abbie the Star Wars Story.
Hi, everyone.
You ready to do this?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. The last video that we did, we had so much fun going through these Rebels trailers and just talking about them. And this video is definitely going to be no different. So make sure you guys are liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and subscribing to Abbie's channel as well. All right, so Rebels Season 3 is where we are starting here today, folks. This is going to be the trailer that has the big Grand Admiral Thrawn, which is absolutely fantastic. I remember seeing a cover for a book about Thrawn, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. They're going to be bringing Thrawn into canon. That's awesome. And then I don't know if this was first, the trailer was first, or the book reveal was first, but either way, I saw the book cover and then I watched the trailer and I was like, wait, Thrawn's in this too. They're putting Thrawn in both. I'm like, oh, okay, so we're just going full throttle on bringing Thrawn into canon right now. That's kind of cool. You just had to remind me of Ahsoka's death at the start, Dave. Really, you had to do that?
Yeah.
Some you can't see.
That mask is so cool.
Agreed.
I will never let my friends get hurt again.
The Holocron. I'm afraid it's changing him.
Oh, and that's right. He gets a new lightsaber
What
at this
if there are
point as
secrets
well.
we can learn from it that'll help us destroy the Sith.
Ezra, the secrets in that thing almost destroyed you.
There are Imperial cadets at the Sky Strike Academy who wish to defect to the Rebels.
Well, this is the Wedge episode.
This is TIE SS-25. You can call me Wedge.
There we go.
Welcome to the rebellion.
I still can't believe we're here to break this guy out of prison.
My friends, my friends!
I smell profit.
I smell profit! I give
My favorite Hondo quote.
Reclamation.
If we could steal a squadron's worth,
They would be key to building a strike fleet. Let's go get them. Everybody ready?
Yep. Let's go.
Oh, I love that episode. The Clone Wars style battle
Yeah.
with the droids and everything. I love that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Flying stormtroopers?
Worse, Mandalorians who serve the Empire.
That's a crazy episode too with the Mandalorians.
You haven't forgotten our ways. That has earned my respect.
so what's in it for you two?
Riches untold, that sort of thing. So, we'll split the treasure. Split the treasure. Oh, that's a classic.
I love Hondo.
Same.
Governor Price,
I love that
these
organ
rebels
music.
have proven particularly stubborn. How do you intend to solve this problem?
I need someone who sees a bigger picture.
The Empire is getting better at anticipating our moves. I underestimated the commander. The previous attacks were clumsy, but this one was swift, precise.
To defeat an enemy, you must know them. Not simply
Amazing.
their battle tactics,
Yeah.
but their history, philosophy, art.
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Carabast.
I do also want to, now that we're here talking about Thrawn, I do want to bring up one thing real quick. For everybody that says that this show messed up Thrawn, I guarantee you y'all didn't watch the show. Because,
Yeah.
this dude never lost with the exception of the season 4 finale. That was it. Every other time this dude won. So, I don't understand, because I see so many people be like, oh, this show messed up Thrawn and you lost. It's like, bro,
Yeah.
you clearly you didn't watch. So, whatever. Just thought I'd put that out there.
Embrace your destiny.
I was so excited for the Maul stuff.
The light and the dark.
And we didn't know where they were going yet, if they were going to do Obi-Wan or what they were thinking.
Once
Yeah.
the secret is known, it cannot be unknown.
Your anger gives you strength.
I will pull the rebels apart piece by piece.
I must become more powerful.
They'll be the architects of their own destruction.
Dude, Sabine with the Darksaber, like, I was like, oh snap, we're bringing that in?
Yeah.
Key to destroying the Sith.
Dude, and I love the Darksaber as well. Like, I love what it represents, and I feel like the Mandalorian and like the Mandoverse timeline has kind of like muddled things when it comes to the Darksaber, and I think that's part of why they got rid of it. But like everything in Clone Wars and Rebels that they did with the Darksaber was just like absolutely fantastic. I love what it represents, and I wish it was a concept they would have kept around. I really do.
Yeah. Something I want to say about the Darksaber, and I hope that you're okay with me saying this.
Go ahead.
Is that every single time Bo-Katan gets her hands on it, she wields it like it's the first time she's ever held it.
I didn't even think about that, but I don't even think I don't think you're necessarily wrong about that. Yeah. That is kind of weird, isn't it? Well, and then what also doesn't make sense about it is like in Mando season 2, when Gideon's like, oh, but she can't take it without winning it in combat. And I'm like, well, what the heck did you think Sabine did in the Mando or in Rebel season 4? She just gifted it to her. Like, what are you talking about, Gideon? Know your lore. Like, because I'm sitting there like all these people that are watching Mando, like all these new people that they brought in, that the Mandalorian brought in, new fans of Star Wars, all this stuff. They're gonna watch this. They're gonna think, oh yeah, I guess you have to win it in combat. And I'm sitting there like, no, like it was gifted. It was gifted before in lore. Like, come on. And I was like, no, what is happening right now? And that's why I said like they muddied the waters so much with that saber. But I love that Darksaber. And is there anything else from this trailer that like really stood out to you, or anything you want to like talk about?
Not really, honestly.
Okay. I remember, where was it? Okay, yeah, so here, like, Hondo as Morgan being with the crew was something that had me curious. This ended up being like one of the more like least favorite episodes of Rebels, but I was kind of curious about that. Wedge revealed in here, like that was cool. This is really cool. I like this. For those that have the Galaxy's Edge holocrons, if you take the Jedi and the Sith holocrons and you put them together, like they turn purple, it's actually really cool. Yeah. This planet ended up being Agamar as well, I think, which is, if you remember in Clone Wars Season 5, Dooku tells Kalani after the Onderon arc, when they've lost the battle, like, he says, like, salvage the remaining arms, withdraw the army, bring them to Agamar. And I was like, so it's a nice little tie into, like, this must be that droid army then.
Yeah.
We didn't know that at the time of the trailer, but just something I thought
was funny with the droid army is that you don't ever see tactical droids just give up. So seeing him be like, yeah, we can end this, we'll be fine. It was really odd. It's like in the Clone Wars that never happened. So this is really odd to see.
Oh, like when the tactical droid, when he was just like, we call a truce or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason he did that is because he knew that there was a bigger threat coming with like the Empire. I think if nothing else, he probably would have killed them all right there and then. But I think he had bigger fish to fry in that moment.
Yeah. I just think it was a funny scene, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get into the back half trailer for season 3. I think at this time Rogue One was out, if I'm remembering my timeline of events correctly, because I remember looking at shots in the trailer of like the Rebel fleets and stuff and them going up against like a bunch of Star Destroyers. I legitimately thought that they were going to do like a tie-in with Rogue One. I thought like that's where we were heading with season 3.
Well, we know we know that in like Rogue One they threw the ghost ship in there. So I was like really like, I wonder why they just didn't do like a connection, because I think that would have been really fun for them to have thrown that connection into like maybe like a 3-episode kind of thing.
Yeah. No, for sure. I would not have minded that at all. All right, here we go. And at this point as well, we would have known what Maul's intentions were of like finding Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Kanan?
You guys had Pajama Dooku in Clone Wars. In Rebels, you get Pajama Ezra.
Yeah.
This message is a warning to any surviving Jedi. Is a warning, Dark Shadow. This
is a warning.
I also love that they have Obi-Wan's voice just saying like warning throughout the trailer. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. That was something that was always kind of cool to me. Oh, the Geonosis episodes. Those were good.
The Empire is hiding something important. We'll deal with it.
Death Troopers, so there's a Rogue One connection.
I just hope it won't be too late.
There's a rebel spy in our midst. Codename Fulcrum.
We're building an alliance. This is our rebellion.
A coordinated attack by multiple rebel cells is unprecedented.
That was the line that made me think.
They've revealed their meager defense.
Tie-ins with Rogue One.
And it's exactly this moment I've been waiting for.
Welcome home. I should let them know we're coming so they don't shoot us down.
That's funny. Wait, you're not kidding, are you?
These are two of my favorite episodes in season 3,
Yeah.
the ones
Your
about
rebel
Sabine.
friends are going to bring the Empire down on all of us.
If you can convince your mother to help the rebels, all of Mandalore might follow you in the Darksaber.
Once people know you have it, you will be challenged.
Ready
You must use
position.
all your skills together.
I'm fighting for you and everyone else not to lose what they've got.
My friends make the impossible possible.
Come on, bust some buckets.
We will show the galaxy what happens to those who dare speak against the Emperor.
Not if I can help it.
We'll never surrender to you, Thrawn.
I'm not accepting surrenders. I want utter defeat, crashing down upon you.
You're in the wrong place.
That final 5 seconds was all I needed. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, there was nothing else from that trailer that got me hyped. That final 5 seconds, oh, it's so good. And I love that he's doing the pose, like the Obi-Wan pose, you know, from the prequels. I love that. One of the things that's kind of like just occurred to me, almost like in this moment, I feel like as time has gone on, because Clone Wars, like the animated series, had its fair amount of criticisms as well. But I feel like over time, the perception of the Clone Wars has like gone up like positively for the show. Like, because you talk to like Star Wars fans, like people that are getting into Star Wars and stuff, people talking about the Clone Wars, like, oh my gosh, this is such an amazing show. I feel like with Rebels, and maybe we'll get to there at some point, but like I don't see that love yet. Like I saw the love when the show was going on and people loved the show. I love the show. You love the show. A lot of us love the show, but I feel like I haven't seen like this show get the proper level of recognition that it deserves, the way that Clone Wars has and rightfully deserves.
Yeah.
Have you felt like you've noticed that at all?
Yeah, I have noticed that a lot, especially with like a lot of newer Star Wars YouTube channels that I've been seeing recently. That it seems to be that way a lot, where people don't really show as much love to Rebels as they do Clone Wars and a lot of other things. Which, don't get me wrong, Clone Wars and all that are fantastic, but I think Rebels deserves just as much recognition.
Well, and let me also just remind you as well, like Clone Wars was in the same boat that Rebels was. Clone Wars, I didn't realize how much Clone Wars was like hated until like once I started getting online and stuff. Like again, I had no idea that Ahsoka Tano was so hated when the show first began. I'm like, are y'all serious right now? So it's just one of those things, like I think over time, it's finally getting that recognition. And I just hope and pray that Rebels gets that exact same recognition. And I hope that when I begin making my Rebels videos on the show, that I hope that for people maybe that aren't too familiar with Rebels or people that haven't given it much of a chance, I hope I can turn that around for people, because it is such an amazing show. Okay, so with that in mind, let's get into season 4. Now with this trailer, y'all got to understand, they revealed this trailer at the end of a panel at Celebration Anaheim, or in Orlando, excuse me, back in like 2017. And they revealed at that panel, hey, Rebels is coming to a close. Like after season 4, it's done. And it got a lot of people emotional. People on stage were emotional about it. People in the crowd were emotional about it. And I remember watching this trailer in an airport before I knew that information. And I was like, this trailer feels different. Like it feels like they're setting up the end, but I didn't know it was the end. And then I got home and I watched the panel and I found out that the show's ending. And then I watched the trailer a second time around and I cried because I was like, no, I don't want this damn show to end. I love it so much.
I remember like feeling the exact same way because I remember we were showed the trailer. Like my brother was like, "Hey, they released a new trailer for Rebels the next season. Do you guys want to see it?" So I remember we sat down, we all watched it, and then he like waited till after the trailer was over. He's like, "Also, it's coming to an end." I was like, "Wow, way to just ruin kind of that excitement a little bit," because it was like,
yeah,
well, this is just gonna suck because then you're kind of counting down the episodes. It feels like.
Yep, exactly. And I will say this though, at the time, as sad as I was that Rebels was ending, and believe me, I was very sad about it, I was also grateful that this story was actually going to get like a proper finish because, you know, there was another show that we were just talking about that at the time didn't have that.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, if nothing else, at least Dave and crew are going to get to tell the complete story of Rebels that they want to tell. And I can at least... be sad. I can at least rest well knowing that, okay, it's going to be the full story that Dave wants to tell.
Yeah.
And that was enough. That was enough for me. So let's get into this.
It was a simple story about a boy who was lost and a girl who was broken.
I can't remember which video of yours, but I put this opening monologue of Hera's in one of your Rebels videos. I can't remember which one though.
I think it was the reason like why I love Rebels video. I think I remember that one.
I led them into battle against an evil so terrible it tried to black out the stars. We fought for each other.
This is obviously all recap from the previous seasons.
Who could not. But we never imagined it would end like this.
We got to talk about these wolves in a minute.
Yeah.
This is a time of difficult choices.
That shot had everybody excited of Kanan and Hera. Yeah.
Especially, I'll talk about that in a second too.
Oh, here, go ahead. Do you want to? Here, let's pause it for a second. What do you got to say?
Especially because, like, I think we were talking about this on Monday. We were talking about how people were, like, how Dave was, like, super surprised that people were putting them together, and we were talking about how they didn't want to be, like, if they didn't want people to put them together, then why do that? And so then, in, like, season 4, they really embraced it.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they did. Well, like the first, because we were talking when I was watching like the first episode of the show, like Hera calls him love and then calls him love like the next 2 episodes just subtly. So I had just naturally assumed like, oh, they're just a couple, like they're a thing. Like I didn't make a big deal of it. It was just like, oh, they're just a couple, I guess. Yeah. And then like when I hear Dave talk about that, I'm like, well, you clearly are showing that they got something going between the two. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh.
And so like in season 4, they fully embraced it.
Yeah, no, they definitely did. They definitely did. All right, let's continue this.
And of difficult choices.
Oh, those Mando episodes were so good.
Yeah.
Sometimes impossible ones.
Uh-oh.
As long as we're together, we've got a chance.
At least we'll go down fighting.
Hang on, I want to wind that back just a second. Oh. Okay, so 2 things. First of which is Bo-Katan. So I remember when you watch the panel back, I don't know why I remember this because so much Star Wars stuff runs through my head, but I remember at the celebration panel when like Tia was talking about like her character arc in season 4, I think she had said something like oh, you guys are never gonna know who shows up, and just like some random fan in the crowd just yells Bo-Katan. So this little guy right here, I know I've read Heir to the Empire before. I remember like this character, like I know he had a weird name and stuff, but I never knew like how to pronounce it. And then Dave showed the character and is like, this is Rook. And I'm like, wait, Rook. Oh, the dude with the name I couldn't pronounce. I'm like, oh, I know that guy. And so I got so excited. I'm like, oh, they're bringing him into this. That's really cool. Because like he played a big part in like Legends and stuff too in the story of Thrawn. If I'm being honest, I don't think Rebels necessarily utilized him to like his fullest potential, but it was still cool to see him in there. And I thought like the first couple episodes with him were pretty good.
We've got a chance.
At least we'll go down fighting. All paths are coming together now.
It's time to get to work.
We are the balance, Ezra. We were meant to be Jedi so we could be here now. When Lothal needs us most.
I went crazy for the X-Wings being in there.
Yeah.
May the Force be with you.
And as we talked about before,
The Force.
that shot here, we know in the show Sabine gives spoke to in the Darksaber, so going back to that little consistency problem.
Ezra! What happened?
Majority of season 4 takes place on Lothal, similar to season 1.
Yeah.
Lothra, Lothcat, Lothwolf, run. Pick a path.
Wait, okay, hold on. I remember. That's right. I forgot we were going to talk about the wolves real quickly before. To this day, I still don't know if I fully understand these wolves. Like, out of lore, I know Dave Filoni, like his favorite animal is a wolf. He wanted to put wolves in the show. That's why they're in there. I guess I guess I don't need to necessarily know everything about that. Like, we know that they have like some connection to the Force. They have a connection to Lothal, but like, I don't know. I still feel like I have like more questions. Where do they come from? How do they have this connection to the Force? Like, do they have any connection to like the Bendu at all? And like, cause like after he disappears is when we see these guys. Like, I don't know. There's so much that I have questions about with these wolves, and I don't think many of them were answered. So to this day, it still kind of leaves me confused.
Yeah.
What's the status of the Imperial occupation?
Mandalore's under complete lockdown. War's raging.
It's time for you to prove your loyalty, not just to your family, but to all of Mandalore.
If you continue to allow this war to be fought on the Empire's terms, you are going to lose.
Thrawn was also the first major villain to cross over between multiple seasons of the show.
What about Lothal?
Yeah.
He promised my people support.
You can run Mon Mothma's errands, or do something that might actually matter.
That's a crazy line. You can run Mon Mothma's errands or do something that might matter. That's
Your
crazy.
independence is at risk. Krennic has been quite persuasive about his own project. Stardust.
What about the blockade and Admiral Thrawn?
Are you confident your ship can get in and out undetected?
We don't call it the Ghost for nothing.
Woo! Got him!
Captain Singular.
It will be done.
Do you know who voices Rook?
No, I don't.
He's voiced by a man named Warwick Davis, and if you don't know what his contributions to Star Wars are, he plays Wicket in Return of the Jedi.
That's funny.
Right? It's like nice, sweet little Wicket, Ewok, and then like evil, crazy, alien, no-gree species in Rook. Oh my gosh.
Ezra, it's not whether or not we fight.
It's how we choose to fight that matters. I know, Kanan. Maybe we're choosing the wrong way.
Okay, I have one thing to say about this whole X-Wing attack on Lothal. If y'all didn't succeed with an entire fleet in season 3 trying to battle Thrawn, what the heck do you think a squadron of X-Wings is gonna do?
Yeah.
Like when I saw that shot, and I'm like, wait, that's all the rebellion is sending right now? I'm like, this isn't gonna work. And then sure enough, it didn't. Like, I don't know. To me, that was just kind of silly. okay, I guess the argument that you can make, right? It's like, it's not like they were going in there to try and destroy, like they weren't trying to liberate Lothal, right? The only objective was the TIE Defender factory.
Yeah.
So maybe I guess like their thought process might have been like, okay, we just need to send in a small team. Let's get them down to the planet, you know, have them bomb the factory and then get out of there. Like maybe that was the idea.
When are you going to feel you've done enough for this rebellion?
Guess I never really thought about it.
So I guess you really never thought about us.
But they're not a couple, right, Dave? Why would people assume that they're a couple?
Oh, I'm moving.
We will not stand down. We will not be broken by fear. We are strong, united by our courage. Now is our time.
I wish I could see you.
You could always see me.
Why would people assume they're a couple?
Yeah.
All the paths are coming together, right?
I'm just not sure if we're going to like where they lead.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw this shot the first time, I thought these were Mandalorians, not ships. Okay, this one right here, where the light goes out. You remember in the Mando episode, like the light goes out and he turns on the saber and he kills the stormtroopers, but then it like cuts away and they don't actually show him killing everybody.
Mm-hmm.
What this always reminded me of, do you remember in the Force Unleashed 2 trailer, they had Starkiller like killing all these stormtroopers. He turn off his sabers and then he turn them back on and like cut everybody up.
Yeah.
Like I wanted them to do something like that here with Kanan. Like that would have been so damn cool. And then they didn't.
I think it's funny how with Star Wars Rebels they were keeping it a kids show by like turning it off like the second before anything happened. And I know that's something else that we talked about with like the two Imperials who were sitting down whenever Tarkin came in, and they're having
in
a whole
season
like,
1,
discussion. Yeah, and like
Yeah.
they like you can see their faces, and then it's just immediately like flashed away over to Tarkin. It was just like it's so funny. Like they stay on that like borderline, so they can't get in trouble at all, and they can keep it the rating that they have it, which is like super funny.
Well, and that's why I thought they didn't. That's why I thought Ahsoka died, because I'm like, well, they're not going to show Ahsoka dying. It's a kid's show. They're not going to show it. Like I got so I know exactly what you mean. They really like blurred, or they didn't blur the lines. They just like kept the line where it was, and they never crossed over it, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I want someone. All right. I know there's people out there that can do this, because I see some of y'all in your like crazy edits and fan animations and AI and all that stuff. Now I want someone to like remake this scene here with Kanan slicing all these guys up. Somebody do it. This is a challenge. Go out there and do it. Come on. I know there's people out there that can do it.
Yeah.
All right. So then we got one more. We got one more trailer to get through here.
I said if I have a feeling, I think I could ask my brother, and he might be able to stitch something like that together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, you heard it, Abbie's brother. Go out there and get it done. I'm kidding. But really the only complaint I have about this mid-season trailer is like half of it is recap. But the other half of it like everything moves so quickly, it's going to be impossible for me to pause it where I want to pause it. I already know that. So let's get into it. I guess it's nice for like the ending of Rebels, right? Like, hey, here's everything that happened before. Here's everything that's going on now.
About being a good person. If not for you guys, Dad'd be back on the Thal, just waiting to be rescued, like everyone else.
Ezra, you have never been like everyone else.
What exactly am I looking for? Nothing and everything. That doesn't help.
Trust yourself. Trust the Force.
I could see what they were thinking.
You must have established a deep connection with them. The Force is trying to tell you something. Listen to it.
All right, I take it back. This is cool.
We have hope.
Yeah.
Hope that things can get better. And they will.
Is it wrong for me to protect my friends?
How did I choose to win? The question is...
We are rebels. Fighting for the people. It won't be easy. We can't back down just because we're afraid. That's when we need to stand the tallest.
Your voice started something. That something has grown bigger than I ever imagined.
All right, here we go. I need to pause it real quick for something.
Let's go.
Okay. Frickin' Rex in the camouflage outfit, I remember, sparked so much online buzz at the time. Because, like, you've heard, I'm sure, like, the fan theories of, like, oh my gosh, Rex is in Return of the Jedi. Like, he can be that old guy with the white beard or whatever. And once everyone saw this, they were like, oh, snap, they're making it a thing. And, like, oh, dude, I was so excited.
Yeah,
and
that was,
even
like, really
Dave...
cool.
Yeah, and even Dave trolled about it. Like, why would he need camouflage? What would he need that for? And I'm like, Dave, you son of a gun.
Yeah.
Oh, he knows how to troll people, man. I tell you. All right, sorry. I will continue.
Go get Hera.
You're in terrible trouble.
Okay, those troopers fell to their death. That's not blurring the lines that much.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
I hate your hair.
Let's go, rebels.
There's the clones. I love that they brought the clones back.
Full-scale bombardment of the city.
Is mine at last.
I couldn't believe they brought Sidious into this.
Yeah.
That was Mortis.
What we have to do now? One last lesson.
Okay, so I remember when I watched this trailer. So me and my brother, when we watched this trailer, we were sitting in an Arby's parking lot, and I completely, kudos to him, in the like 1 second that this shot airs before they like get rid of it real quick, he was like, dude, that was the Mortis gods. I'm like, wait, what? And then we went back and paused it. I'm like, oh my gosh, good call. Like I didn't see that at all. So this was something that very much had me intrigued going into the season.
Yeah, it was really cool seeing that, and that the fact that that was the entrance into the World Between Worlds was really cool.
Yeah, and speaking of the World Between Worlds, we actually get it, like, here we go. I've heard people make the comparison of, like, this is Star Wars version of Rainbow Road in Mario Kart, like a black and white version of Rainbow Road, which I thought is very funny.
That is funny.
So yeah, this was another thing I was very much intrigued by, like where the heck is Ezra right now, and like what does this have to do with anything? I remember the Wolf Doom that like talks with Ezra in season 4. He says something like, I can't remember the exact quote, so I might butcher it, but it was something like restore the past, redeem the future. And I was trying to figure out, like, okay, that's a really weird thing to say. Like that feels almost like some kind of time travel implications or something like that. I wasn't thinking Ahsoka though at this point. Like I didn't know what, I can't remember what exactly I was thinking. I didn't think that like this was going to be the way that they brought back Ahsoka though.
Yeah. I knew they would probably bring back Ahsoka because I know that Dave couldn't just let her go like that. So I just wasn't expecting it to be this way, honestly.
I was someone like that went through season 3, like, okay, I like season 3, but where was Ahsoka? Like, I want confirmation of her death. And then we got to season 4. I'm like, okay, Dave, I said, if she's dead, if you just come out and say that she's dead, or like someone says something to confirm her death, like we get a body or something, like something. I'm like, at least I have my confirmation, but I need to know. And then what's kind of funny about the whole thing is I watched through this episode and I really thought about it. And I'm like, okay, I mean, at least she's alive, but she's still kind of then in the same spot that she's been since season 2. So where has she been all this time? And then, you know, the finale happens and you get her at like the very end. So it's like, okay, like great, she's there. She's still alive and kicking. But where was she during all that time on Malachor? Like, what was she doing?
That's a good point. What was she doing?
Yeah, like, did she just like sit? I don't even know. Like, was she studying Sith artifacts, or like, what was she doing? I have no idea. This trailer is also very misleading about Kanan's death, because they put Kanan in this trailer a lot, I remember. And then like the first episode that they came back from their like mid-season break or whatever, like after this trailer aired, they killed him off in like the first episode. I'm like, I could see this happening maybe like 2-3 episodes before the show ends tops, not like right halfway through the show, like through the season.
Yeah, I remember the devastation. I was like, wait, what did you just do? I was just like so heartbroken.
I don't think I've ever cried in my life over anything more than I cried like the first time I watched that moment.
Star Wars to this day has been the only like what is the thing called? I'm trying to think.
Franchise?
Yes, thank you. That has actually made me cry. That is it.
Yeah. No, I've definitely like as time has gone on, there's been like other things that have like gotten me emotional and stuff, but like Star Wars was really like that first thing for me because like I remember it was Ahsoka walking away. I maybe like shed a tear or two. Fives' death in Clone Wars season 6 that got me emotional. Ahsoka dying, what I thought was her death in season 2, and then this Kanan moment. And this was, like I said, this one was like the worst of anything. And I was like, I'm so glad that there was another episode to watch after that episode because I'm like, dude, I need something here to like help me. Like, and that's really what the next episode after this was all about is like, okay, let's all grieve for Kanan together. Kanan's your favorite of the Rebels characters, right?
Yeah.
What an amazing character. And like, dude had an incredible run in the show.
And then, like, later on, like, the very end of season 4, we lose Gregor, and then we didn't know what happened to Ezra for 10 plus years.
Exactly. I feel like with all the Star Wars content that we have right now, like with all the Mandoverse stuff, I feel like in a way, maybe that's kind of like what's taking away from Rebels a little bit is because you go into Rebels now, if you have all the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett and all those shows like with context, well, you know that Ahsoka's not going to die, right? But at the time, I was sitting there like holding my breath the entire Vader fight because I'm like, she's going, like, this is it for her. This is her end. But like now you go into it, if you know all the other context, it's like, well, you know, Ahsoka's going to live because she's got her own show in the Mandoverse timeline. It's like, okay, but we didn't know that at the time. Like, you don't, I think maybe that's part of the problem is like people aren't getting the same experience watching Rebels because there's so much other content out there that gives away, in a way, I guess, kind of spoilers about what happens. Like, oh, Ezra goes away. Well, that doesn't matter because they bring him back in like, you know, another show.
Like they weren't watching it 10 years ago whenever we had all this stuff and we didn't know what was happening. And then 10 years down the line, we have all this and people just don't really see it anymore, I guess.
When I always talk about it in Clone Wars, I always joke about it. Like me and my brother, when we watched that show, we were in the I always say we were in the trenches. That's like my analogy for it is like, we were just full, like heads on, obsessed with this show. And I can very much feel like I was definitely in those same trenches when it came to Rebels. I think you were too.
Yeah.
And I think it's easier for us to come on here and say, this is all the reasons why this show is so great. But I think like really the only way around it, I think, is if you don't know all the other context for all the other shows. But I don't even know how you avoid that at this point with the internet and like Disney Plus and all the spoilers for things that are out there, you know?
Yeah.
So I think on that note, you guys, that is going to wrap us up for today. Thank you so much, Abbie, for joining me. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
This was a lot of fun. I like this format of video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with others to help support the channel, and I will see you guys next time.
I smell profit.